Hi everybody. We're missing 5 stars for Agent Gateway. So if you haven't started our repo, please do. And also tell your friends. We'd appreciate that. Thank you. Um, John, should I pass the mic to you? Maybe give us some update on the development. I also saw, I think Thomas, you want to discuss MCP external OSC support. Does anybody else have a topic wants to bring up? Okay, I'm not hearing anything. I know last time we haven't finished the discussion on multiplex, so we could potentially discuss that too this time. Um, but do add also just things under the topic if you have any topic you want to bring up. So John, I'm going to pass the mic to you, kind of talk about what's new since last week from your perspective.
Yes, so in the last week or so, there's been a lot of focus on the LM side. Actually, there's been a lot of stuff going on last week. On the LM side, we added support for Anthropic Messages API. So you can use Claude Code, for example, and proxy that through Agent Gateway. Right now, it is only going to Anthropic. You can't go like Anthropic in and OpenAI out, for example. But that's something we'll have in the future. I think there's already a PR to do Bedrock support for that. That's the back end. Unfortunately, it's kind of a case-by-case basis for each one, so it's a bit of extra work on the translation, but still pretty useful for going to Anthropic from Anthropic as API as well. On top of that, we made it so on the OpenAI side, basically, like when you go to OpenAI compatible, it's kind of a blurred line, really. Almost every provider has like 99% the same fields, but then they add some extra fields for things like reasoning or other provider-specific features they have. Now we support all of those. We don't strip them out. And so even if they're adding extra fields, we won't necessarily like know what to do with them. Like we won't necessarily like log the value, but we won't strip them out anymore. Some of the other things, we worked a lot on the robustness of the proxy for like real live production environments. So things like tuning the buffer sizes, connection timeouts, keep alives, all that sort of stuff. And then we also added this kind of concept. One thing that's really common in gateways is to do policies to decide routing. So you could do, something like call out to an external authorization server, and then that sets some headers, and then you route based on those headers. So we added this new concept of early policies or gateway policies that apply before routing, so you can do that, and added external processing support as well. So a lot of big changes landed just recently. We haven't shipped a release with any of this yet, but if you are interested in trying any of it out, let us know how it goes.
Awesome. So if I have trying to take some notes, meet people. So Anthropic support is added, Bedrock is coming, improvement to Open API format that we no longer strip out additional headers we didn't support before. And a new release is coming. Did I capture that correctly too?
Yeah, that's all. Our new release is always coming.
Okay. But it's not like a major, it's just one of the normal minor releases.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're now at .9, so the next one's .10, which is a little awkward, but I don't think we're ready for 1.0 yet at this point. So
okay,
we're now going to double digits.
That's awesome. Thanks for that update. By the way, I also saw on Discord somebody is running an Agent Gateway challenging. I've been trying to get hold of that person and asking, what's the progress for the challenging and who is funding the challenging. I'll put the link here in the notes. Sorry, I need to fix my Google Meet, but I've been having trouble to sharing my screen unless I share my entire screen. So apologies, I would just ask you, or if somebody wants to share, or just go to the link directly, that would be great. Thank you, Carlos. Yeah, but I'll put the link in the meeting minutes for people to check out because I am very excited to see what this person come up with the hackathon and the challenging. So it sounds like a lot of promising configuration could come out.
What is the
that
challenging? I didn't quite get that. They're doing what?
So
Hackathon or
basically,
something like that?
yeah, let me
Hackathon. Okay.
it's kind of a hackathon, but I think they call it challenging
Okay.
because
No
they
problem.
are kind of giving award to people who is providing agent gateway interesting configuration and
Oh,
integration.
that's the top coder thing, right?
Yeah, the top
I think that
coder
one
thing.
might have. It's
Is
already
it
done. I
is it
think.
already done? Yesterday when I checked, it's still open, but I've been trying to follow
Yeah,
up to
there's
see.
5 hours left, right? So it's gonna
Okay,
be done
yeah.
Oh wow.
today, probably.
Who
So one
who
thing,
gave money to do this?
exactly. So one thing I want to do is to see the output and maybe have them come to our community meeting and give us a brief too. So
And they
I'll
mention
keep people
AWS
posted.
EFS. Interesting. I just have an eye.
My guess is that the top coder people, the company is like fronting all that money just to get like interesting stuff. I guess I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
guessing here. These are all guesses from me. Nothing.
Yeah. But
yeah.
thank you for actually sending this to my way, Peter, in
Actually,
the first place.
just have one thought, and maybe it's out of context. I've been having a lot of success with agentic type of tasks. I'm wondering if people like give this task to an agent, how far it can get to implement all this stuff. Right. So an agent gateway admin.
I'm pretty sure some of the submissions will be AI submissions for sure.
No, but like for me, in my domain is I want to show people the power, right, of agentic DevOps with my cloud provider or like with cloud or open source or CNCF. Not necessarily like get the solution, but show how can we write unit tests in a better way, or documentation or tutorials, or enhance our website, or like right all those things. That's a thought. Call me crazy. Ignore me.
Yeah,
So,
it would be good to see what people have.
or if it could be a tutorial, right? This content
yeah, exactly.
at the eye looks like
come
tutorial. Like this could be a tutorial that we have, and just people follow along. Or a
It would
workshop.
be really cool if they can produce 5 tutorials or 3, just whoever wins the prize. So
Yeah, or we can work on a workshop, right? Implementing this, and people go through the
yeah.
steps. That's what I'm doing a lot lately for workshops, for preparing for the end of the year event. I run agentic, fixing clusters, deploying clusters, making them
Cool.
ship.
All right, awesome. I feel that. Is there any other updates anybody in the community wants to provide before we jump to the topic?
I was going to check.
Oh, you were asking about the release notes.
Yeah,
Yes,
I see it, right?
it is.
So that's a good thing that we
Yeah.
generate them. We have like the way of like automatically creating this, right? So it's nice.
Yeah, the GitHub creates the bottom part, and then the top part, if there is anything that not every release there is, but I write that in as a human.
Oh, you used your hands.
Yes.
And
yeah,
also
other projects we automated this because it's a pain.
Yeah, I believe we also set up automation. So whenever there's a new release, it goes to the announcement channel on Discord. So yeah.
Perfect. Let me add
all
that
right. Should we jump to the this issue, the MCP aware external RC support?
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Yeah, so add it to the topic. So if you folks can click on that link, or colors when you get time, bring that up. So Thomas, I think you are here, right? Can I pass the mic to you to see what question you have?
Yeah, so currently, there's that MCP authorization policy that you can create. So you can create these CAL policies to do 2-level authorization or other authorization, right? But often, we might have like our own policy stored in, for example, let's say Ranger or something like that, right? And rather than keeping these, translating policies from some other policy store to the CL policies, you might want to do what this I think what this issue describes is like have a fallout to another external authorization service to actually do the enforcement, to do the check, right, within the access check. So I was just wondering what the plans are on adding this feature, or like, is it on the roadmap, or is it anything, or is there anything that, yeah, like what plans are there on adding this feature, or how hard it will be to implement this basically?
Yeah, I think the tricky thing is like what the API is really the only thing. Like if, let's say there was already a specification for MCP aware X.Z, implementing it probably take a couple hours. Like that's no problem.
Yeah.
But then it's like, are we building our own specification? Are we the right place to do that? Then you have to also build the specification, and that takes time and thought.
Right.
So that to me is the main tricky thing. When I had opened the issue, I kind of hoped that if we just waited a little bit, the problem would solve itself. It doesn't really seem to be happening. We've talked to some others in the space. No one else seems to be solving this problem either. So it might be at this point in time to just bite the bullet and define a spec around this. Try not to keep it too overcomplicated, so that if something else better evolves, we can pick that up as well. That's my main thought. I mean, the main difference between the existing HTTP XDOF is that we run kind of the auth on two places. On the calling of the tools,
yeah, it's
on the request path, but on the listing of the tools, it's on the response path. And so we would probably need, obviously, different handling of that if we want to keep the filtering support, which I guess we could discuss that. But like today, when you are not authorized, it's filtered automatically for you, which I think is nice. You don't technically have to keep that behavior. We can always let them list it and then not let them call it. But
listing may have information that you don't want to be shared.
Yeah, definitely. Like, yeah, I do think it's most likely useful to block it on list.
Yeah, I agree.
And honestly, if you're not blocking on list, you can already kind of do this today, because you can use the HTTP level one, and yes, you'll just get the raw MCP body that you'll have to do a bit more work parsing it. And but you could do it today. So I think that, I don't know. I'd love to hear your thoughts, Thomas, but I think the listing is probably useful.
Yeah, I think even on listing as well, enforcing the auth on listing would make sense, I think. Or else you can list a tool, but you can't actually call a tool, right? Like for the user experience, I think that doing the auth check for listing as well makes sense, I think. Yeah. And so this would work by, let's say I have a sidecar running that does this authorization check on and I implement it on my end. Maybe so I would get like a list tool request or a call tool request with the name of the tool and the server name, and then we translate that to our policy, right?
Yeah, like we probably have. So if you look at like the HTTP one, there's also just like attributes about the request, things like headers, I don't know, when the request started, all sorts of things. So we could probably draw from what they have there, and then add the MCP specific fields. One thing as well we could probably just consider, so this XDOS stuff really like largely comes from Envoy, but it's sort of slowly becoming a standard beyond Envoy. Obviously we'd use it. There's two modes. There's an HTTP and a gRPC mode. We only actually currently support the gRPC mode because it's better in basically every way other than it's harder to write a server that is gRPC versus HTTP.
Right.
So we could consider adding both modes there as well, but it's probably better to start with just one.
I see.
Or gRPC, I would assume, but we should also keep that in mind.
Okay.
But yeah, I think we just have those two things basically. I mean, the one thing that would be different is with the listing of the cells. With the cell authorization on list tools, we apply the policy on like each tool basis. I don't really want to make like a bunch of calls to the authorization server, so we'll probably just get the full list and send that down. And maybe it returns like back which ones are allowed, I guess.
For the cell, apply the cell on the blob once.
Yeah, and I guess also like one thing as well, if we send the full like list tool response back, we could potentially not just let them say yes or no, allowed or denied, but actually just respond back with the tools. And that way, if they want to do like a prompt guard kind of thing, and say, sanitize the what it's called, the description or whatever.
Description.
Yeah. That sort of thing. It could allow that. I mean, then you don't have to do it, obviously. You could just echo back the original one, but that's probably going to give us maximum flexibility.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, that's one.
Potentially on the call tool as well, you could like respond with either deny, allow, or allow like with this different call kind of. I don't know if we want, I don't know. That would definitely be, that's like the end state of what eventually use cases will come up with probably, but we don't necessarily need to start there, right?
So you mean like rewrite the call? See, okay.
Yeah, potentially, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, for
I think it's likely more useful on like the list tools. Actually, then there's also like the response side authorization on the call as well. Potentially you could want to rewrite. Is that something you would be interested in as well?
I think for us right now, it's mainly you want to like restrict, let's say an agent has access right now to some set of like a subset of the tools in an MCP server, right? That's just the basic use case.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
yeah, I think let's try and keep it simpler for now. And given it's a nice gRPC service, we can always add some fields, expand it. But I don't want to over-engineer this too much.
Yeah, Thomas, can you write that like minimal requirement in the issue to capture that there of like you're not asking for the world, you're asking for this first use case or a use case that you cannot do your block, right? Basically, you block on this use case if we provide what will be the minimum feature set, right? Doesn't have to be implemented completely, or the use case can be sent to somebody else, right? A community, NCP to say this is something that is blocking someone, and what will be the best way to handle that.
Yeah, I can add a comment. Sure.
Yeah, I would love to know that too. So my understanding is, correct me if I'm wrong, we do support external RC for HTTP, so you could potentially even configure this with K-Gateway, right? But the fact that we don't support MCP well, it doesn't allow you to do specific cell-based RC policy check on, hey, I'm only going to allow 7 tools out of my 50 tools in my GitHub MCP server, use the external RC. Is that correct, Thomas?
Yeah, there's no way to do it externally. You could write a CL policy, but you have to configure that in the gateway, right?
In the configuration itself of Agent Gateway. Okay, so can you educate us what external RC server are you using? Just curious.
I mean, for example, like maybe Apache Ranger or something like that, right? That's people use Ranger for policies. That would be one thing to, like, if you wanted to test this out, it would be cool. It would be one way to validate this. Like if you have this service, you could probably bring up Ranger in a test and then test out that it actually works. I think so. That's one approach. I think. Yeah.
So it would be good to have that specific info in the issue, right? So people can. We need to if we implement it, like, we have to write tests, so we have to have like what do we use for end-to-end test, right?
Yeah, and also we're looking for like solution case study, the user cases for Agent Gateway, right? So if this is something that we could write up in the docs or in a blog, it would be beneficial to the rest of the community as well.
Can be
Assuming
highlighted.
the future lands,
Can be highlighted as something that Agent Gateway solves, right? That maybe others don't. Yeah, differentiator.
Yeah, definitely. All right, cool. Is there anything else we want to discuss on this topic, or are we done with this topic? Okay, I think we're done with this topic.
Let's skip the discussion in the issue unless it's a bigger one and GitHub issue, GitHub discussion, right, can be open. Yeah.
Let's do that. The other topic I had, I don't know if there's any update from the last week's topic on multiplex with MCP server with prefix. I don't know if anybody thought a lot more about that. Eitan is not here, but he did ping me something about ADK has a PR going on to be able to add some prefix configuration for tools. So this may not be a problem with ADK anymore soon, whenever we move to a newer ADK. But I don't know if we still want to do anything, because Agent Gateway is not just designed to work with K-Agent. Agent Gateway is designed to work with all the different other frameworks. So
At least, Lynn, do you have a talk or an issue? What you're what are the things that you're talking about?
Yeah. So basically, it's the open question on the future topic, which we touched on last time, and we didn't have enough time to finish or draw a conclusion. So just curious if anybody else had further thought about that. Yeah, I'll bring this over for you.
I see.
Yeah, so last time we kind of discussed as Agent Gateway fronting one MCP server to multiple MCP server, a prefix is added to the tools, which changes the interface for agents to call the tools. If the agents was calling the tool name initially, now it has to call the prefix underscore the tool name. So that was the gist of the issue, and we discussed like two options. Actually, maybe more than two options. We discussed one option is always keep the prefix regardless whether we have one single MCP server or multiplex MCP server. The other option we discussed is just keep it as it is today to have a smooth get started experience. But as people grow from one MCP server to multiple, we will add the prefix. And I think we also discussed that it might be good to have a configuration knob so people can indicate whether they want the prefix or not as they grow from one to multiple MCP server.
Oh, so the use case, if you have one single MCP server, do not add the prefix. If you have more, we have to add it.
Right
Absolutely,
now, the behavior. Right now, the behavior is we add the prefix for the user. Yeah.
No, we only add the prefix when there's multiple right now.
Yeah, when there's multiple.
None. So Lynn, I think the only viable option, like hypothetically, we could have a mode that there's no prefix for multiple servers, but it's going to cause so many problems. I would say
that's dramatic. No, that's a big no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like if someone paid me $1 million, I could give you a prototype that does it.
So I think it's a little.
Options.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit obscure that when you add another agent, suddenly you prefix show up. That's like a little bit obscure. Is that the problem?
That's the surprise to me.
Yeah, so we should not have surprise options, and I think it's a config. Yeah, so let's keep it if you want to have the same behavior today, have a flag saying always prefix, and then people that use it in production that want to use it, want the expected behavior always always have the prefix on it.
So what would be the default? That is the configuration knob we're looking at. The colors exactly right. So what would be the default? Would the default be you don't always have the prefix? You still do?
I think as a UX, as a UX experience, and for somebody coming in as a day one of looking at this, I think they would expect of I get it. Add an MCP server, it has a prefix. I have the second one has a prefix, and you don't talk about non having a prefix. And then if you want but I only have one MCP server, then add the option of no prefix. That's my 2 cents. With the lens of a new person coming in to the project and understanding how it works, then it's consistent from day 1 and day 10, right? Always have a prefix.
Always have prefix would be your vote, but have an option. User can say, I don't want the prefix when there's only one MCP server.
Because that would be the uncommon production scenario, having a gateway for one MCP server. I'll bet my 2 hands on it and fire.
I think that might be easier for people to debug when there's a problem, because what's really surprising is you got everything working, and then the prefix mess things up as you start multiplex, which is what I run into, by the way, because if it didn't work for me in the first spot.
Yeah, for me too. I have problems with that. I was asking Christian, how I was supposed to disambiguate and all these things, so it was not clear. So once I knew it was a prefix, I was happy. But I didn't know if I went back to 1, I didn't have the prefix, so I was surprised. So that's my 2
Okay.
cents. Always
So you
have the
run into that
prefix,
too. Okay.
and then the no prefix is like a dev mode or like a specific feature, or it's part of the dev mode settings, right? One of the dev mode settings or something like that.
Okay, cool. Anyone else have an opinion? Or?
I mean, I think I said similar thing last week. It's just like, yeah, for a single user, I'd be happy to use the flag, but default for production, they should just use the prefix.
Yeah, there
Yes,
shouldn't be
sir.
element of surprise in production.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I do remember you said that. Thanks for your input too, Chris. All right. Any other topic we should be discussing quickly, or we're right on time too?
There's an issue for this, or somebody's going to have an issue to modify?
Yeah, I can write up an issue. We had a pretty lengthy discussion last week, so but I'll be happy to write up an issue. By the way, Carlos, do you have any update on your side? I know Suri has been joining in the past few meetings. Is there anything you want to share with us? I didn't ask you earlier.
For the Canoe perspective, we are working. We have a demo that we want to showcase. Somehow it's not included, but agent gateway. Excuse to use it in the demo, and the demo is basically we want to auto generate MCP servers for any CRD in the cluster. So basically, you can have a platform engineer AI agent that then, as you add CRDs into the cluster for Argo rollouts, Argo CD, Argo events, Argo workflows, then the agent is capable of using the CRDs as a spec to talk to them through MCP. And then we can put all those CRDs, CRD/MCPs behind agent gateway. This is where you do your auth and your capabilities agent gateway, right? But the talk is more about like CNCF projects should not be spending a lot of time creating MCP servers by hand or maintaining them. We should create one tool for all the CNCF projects that they just like add to their pipeline that that can generate it or can like transform it, type of thing.
Oh, that's very cool.
Because
Nice.
if 2,000 CNCF projects are going to spend time in writing MCP servers, that's a waste of time. That's a TRDR my talk and my rant.
I'd love to see what you come up with. Do give us a demo if you have something working.
Yeah, and then like that's the solution. But then eventually we be I don't know, a controller, right? A controller that you annotate things or configure something, and then automatically creates the agent gateway, configures the MCP. Like suddenly your Kubernetes clusters become agentic.
Yeah.
The Kubernetes API also, right?
Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting. All right. Thanks for that quick update. Appreciate that. With that, I think we're going to wrap up the call. Thanks everybody for joining, and see you all next week. Thanks. Bye.
Bye, folks.